On August 30, 2013, a 19-year-old college student named Bryce Laspisa disappeared under circumstances so bizarre that investigators, search teams, and his devastated family have been left grasping for answers for over a decade. This is a case with more questions than answers. A young man who seemed to deliberately delay a simple 3-hour drive home, only to vanish without a trace in the California wilderness. This is the story of Bryce Laspisa. Bryce Laspisa was a typical college freshman attending Sierra College in Rocklin, California. By all accounts, he was a normal teenager, artistic, creative, and close with his parents, Karen and Michael Laspisa, who lived in Laguna Niguel, about 450 miles south. In August 2013, as summer break was ending, Bryce's behavior began to change. His roommate and girlfriend noticed he seemed withdrawn, drinking heavily and experimenting with the study drug Vyvanse, which he'd been given by a friend. His girlfriend, Kim, became so concerned that she broke up with him just days before his disappearance. Though they remained in contact, on August 27th, Bryce's mother Karen received a strange call. Bryce told her he wanted to come home. She was thrilled, but what should have been a straightforward 3-hour drive would turn into a parent's worst nightmare. On August 28th, Bryce left Rocklin to drive home to Laguna Niguel in his 2003 Toyota Highlander. The route was simple: take Interstate 5 south straight down. 3 hours, maybe 4 in traffic. But Bryce never made it home. The first red flag came when Karen called to check on him. Bryce said he was near Buttonwillow, a small town off Interstate 5. But hours passed, and he didn't arrive. Karen called again. Bryce was still in Buttonwillow. He'd been there for hours. Something was very wrong. A man named Christian, a roadside assistance driver, later came forward to say he'd helped Bryce with his car near Buttonwillow. He said Bryce seemed nervous and mentioned he'd taken some pills. Christian gave Bryce his number and told him to call if he needed anything. Karen and Michael were now terrified. They stayed on the phone with Bryce, begging him to continue driving. At one point, Bryce bizarrely gave his wallet, laptop, and phone to Christian, asking him to give them to Kim. It was almost as if he was preparing to disappear. At 2:00 a.m. on August 29th, Bryce was spotted on a security camera at a gas station in Castaic, about 90 miles from home. He was buying a drink. He seemed to be alone and calm. Then, at 2:08 a.m., Bryce called Karen one final time. He told her, "I'm too tired to drive." Those were the last words she ever heard from her son. At approximately 5:30 a.m., a massive crash was reported near Castaic Lake. Bryce's Toyota Highlander had gone off the road, crashed through a fence, rolled down an embankment, and come to rest on its side near the lake. But here's what makes this case so disturbing. The evidence at the scene suggested this was a typical accident. The SUV's rear window had been broken from the inside. Bryce's phone, wallet, and laptop were gone. He'd already given them away hours earlier. His car keys were found outside the vehicle. Blood was discovered on the back seat and the headrest, though not in large quantities. But Bryce himself, he was nowhere to be found. Search and rescue teams scoured the area. Dive teams searched Castaic Lake. Cadaver dogs tracked Bryce is sent to a nearby truck stop, then lost it. Helicopters circled overhead. Investigators interviewed witnesses, reviewed security footage, and followed every lead. Nothing. Bryce Laspisa had simply vanished. So what happened to Bryce Laspisa? Over the years, several theories have emerged, each more troubling than the last. The first is that he walked away from his life intentionally. The fact that he gave away his personal belongings, delayed his journey home, and seemed to be in emotional distress suggests he may have been planning to disappear. Perhaps the pressure of college, the breakup with Kim, or his substance use pushed him over the edge. But if he walked away, where did he go? How has he survived without money, identification, or resources? And why hasn't there been a single confirmed sighting in over a decade? A second theory is that he survived the crash, wandered into the wilderness surrounding Castaic Lake in a disoriented state, and succumbed to the elements or another accident. The area is rugged, with steep terrain and dense vegetation. Despite extensive searches, it's possible his body simply hasn't been found. However, it's worth noting that cadaver dogs detected no evidence of human remains in the immediate area. A third, more sinister theory is foul play. Some investigators believe Bryce may have encountered someone at the truck stop where his scent trail ended. Was he picked up by a stranger? Did he meet with someone he knew? The blood found in his vehicle raises disturbing questions. While the amount wasn't consistent with a major injury, it does suggest that something violent may have occurred inside that car. And finally, there's the possibility of a severe mental health crisis. Bryce's use of Vyvanse, combined with alcohol and the stress he was experiencing, may have triggered a psychotic break or a severe dissociative episode. This could have caused him to act irrationally, lose his sense of identity, and wander off with no memory of who he was. Today, over 11 years later, Karen and Michael Laspisa continue to search for their son. They've never given up hope, maintaining a website and social media presence to keep Bryce's case in the public eye. In 2015, there was a possible sighting of Bryce in Portland, Oregon, but it was never confirmed. Over the years, there have been other alleged sightings, but none have led anywhere concrete. The Laspisa family has consulted with psychics, private investigators, and missing persons experts. They've followed up on hundreds of tips and distributed thousands of flyers, but Bryce remains missing. The questions that haunt this case are maddening. Why did Bryce delay his journey home for so long? What was going through his mind during those hours in Buttonwillow? Did he stage the accident at Castaic Lake? And most importantly, where is Bryce Laspisa? If you have any information about Bryce Laspisa's disappearance, please contact the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. The number is on your screen now. Bryce Laspisa's case reminds us that sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones without answers. A young man, just starting his life, vanished in the middle of the night, leaving behind only questions and heartbreak. Wherever you are, Bryce, your family is still looking for you. Thank you for watching.